On today's show, the night we've all been waiting for, October 23rd, 2024. Clippers Suns opening night. The first game at the Intuit Dome. Do I need to say anything more? Gonna be talking about it all on today's Locked On. We're back, baby. Clippers. Yeah.
You are Locked On Clippers, your daily Los Angeles Clippers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, sir. You were locking in with the Clips. Thank you for making Locked On Clippers the first listen of your day, your team every day. I'm your host, Darian Vaziri, born and raised in LA and entering my 20th season as a Clipper fan tonight, baby. I can't believe it. You can also follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DimeDropperPod and subscribe to my own YouTube channel, Dime Dropper, for even more LA Clipper, LA Sports, and NBA content. And Locked On Clippers is free and available wherever you get your podcasts, including YouTube, where I want you to let me know your score prediction for our opening game against the Phoenix Suns. It'll be on ESPN, and it'll be on Bally Sports West, which is going to be changed soon. The name up to like FanDuel Sports Network or something like that. So keep an eye out for that. And speaking of FanDuel, this episode is brought to you by FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Today's episode, going to be talking about the game, the preview, what my keys are. Talking a little bit about the Phoenix Suns, our sworn nemesis. But let's cut all that chit-chat out. This is history, ladies and gentlemen. I know I talked about the night that we had that first preseason game against the Dallas Mavericks being historic. But it's preseason. This is the one we've all had circled on our calendars. This is the one that's going to be sold out to the brim. And this is the night where the world will see the Intuit Dome in action. ESPN, first night of the season. Or second night of the season, I should say. It's going to be special. The only thing that sucks is no Kawhi, of course. Obviously, Mo Bamba also out, but to not have Kawhi open up the Intuit Dome is a real gut punch. It really is. I think it's sadly very fitting for this era of Clipper basketball, Kawhi's era, that he's not here to begin the Intuit Dome era, but I still think we have a chance to win the game. And I'll talk about that in the next segment, but this is so significant. For a franchise that moved to Los Angeles in 1984, this is now the 41st season of LA Clippers basketball. Once considered the worst franchise in American sports. Getting made fun of in literal movies. Love and Basketball. The last time they were still good, Dr. J was still a nurse. I didn't forget. How about Joanna Man? Even the Clippers won't take you. One time I went to the park. I was playing pickup basketball. And some OG on the side, when I said I was a Clipper fan, this was like 2017, went on a 5-minute rant about the Clippers. They're the worst franchise in history. They suck. Someone talk about the Clippers. This man talking about the Clippers. 5-minute rant over that. And that was back when I was a super optimistic Lob City fan. But I just remember feeling that disrespect. And of course, this is not somewhere else. This is in LA. And that's the kind of disrespect that Clipper fans felt and go through, whether they're at work or at school. I mean, I grew up around Laker fans. All of us did, if you're from here. It's brutal. And it's partially because we have mainly because we had a terrible owner that was absolutely awful, that didn't care about investing in the team to win, and only cared about his pockets. Wouldn't re-sign great players and would just let them walk. Didn't care about being good. And where we're at now on a night like this with Steve Ballmer and his baby, when he he kept saying, or he has always said, when he got to the Clippers, he was like, oh, well, thank God we don't got to build a stadium. And then he's like, oh, we got to build a stadium because the way Steve Ballmer operates, he's one of the richest men on the planet. Have you seen his net worth? This guy, all he knows is top of the line stuff. Success. Being second tier or even third fiddle in the Staples Center wasn't enough for him. He wanted to get an upgrade. Something that he could control. Something that we could call home. And that is what this is. It's like a palace for Clipper fans. The plaza, the basketball court. It's just incredible. And it's finally going to get put into action. What I'm most excited to see is not anything that I need to see. It's what I want to hear. Full house. Wall in effect. We heard the supporter section loud and clear. We're definitely going to hear them loud and clear again. But what about the other thousands of fans in the wall? Are we going to feel that noise? Because let me tell you something. I watched the Laker game on Tuesday. It wasn't that lit for an opening night game, even with LeBron and Bronny, and that's judging from the outside. And also, it is coming after a ring night game with the Celtics. But if that Intuit Dome, I mean, if you're not excited for tomorrow and you're a Clipper fan that's going to the game, you should give your ticket to someone else. Because if you're not ready to make noise and open up that building the way it's supposed to be opened up, with Ballmer hearing the sound of the wall that he has created, then you, and even if you're not on the wall, if you're sitting in the main, I mean, are you kidding me? If you're there and you're a Clipper fan, be loud. We need to show everyone across the country and across the world that it wasn't the fan base that was holding us back. It was the stadium. Put that same fan base in a new stadium, you got to see how loud we can get. Ballmer built it for this. And there was a picture that was taken today of Staples Center behind the basket because they were showing off the shirts that they were giving out to commemorate Jerry West, of the jerseys, which is awesome from the Lakers. I mean, it's about time they did something after the way they've treated him the last couple of years. But the Clippers are also going to have a commemorative, that seat behind the basket that he used to always sit in, empty and there for him, which is very touching. And, you know, I don't want Steve Ballmer to make me cry on opening night. Can't be doing that. But, geez, it's going to be heavy. I still can't believe Jerry West's gone. It's completely devastating. But on a more positive note, yeah, let's get booming, y'all. Like, let's go crazy, Clipper Nation. I'm going to be there. We got to all go nuts. And what better opponent to open up this arena than the Phoenix Suns, the team that's only franchise that's beaten us in the playoffs 3 times, a team that we've lost to in the playoffs too much recently. We can't stand them. Like, let's get after it. Let's boo Devin Booker on every touch. I mean, I have a feeling that if the crowd goes crazy, Clippers create some turnovers, get out and run, get a little Derrick Jones, Terrence Mann, Kai Jones in transition action, you might set the roof on fire, and we might get a Game 1 win with James Harden playing great and everyone stepping up and in front of the big stage. And one of those games where the crowd feels like they have an impact. But the reason why I brought up Staples Center is because behind the basket, you just saw an angle of, you know, the seats in the 100 section at Staples Center behind the basket. And after just being at Intuit Dome, you can clearly tell the difference. Intuit Dome builds upwards. Staples Center builds outwards. So the 100 section, if you've ever sat there at Staples Center, it's actually not that much higher than the next row in front of it. But it's just further away from the court. And at Intuit Dome, you're closer to the court. So I can't wait to see how it is. I can't wait to see all the fans. If you see me at the game, holler at me. I would love for you to be in my video because I'm going to have another video on my channel. First night at Intuit Dome. If you want to see it, you know where to go. But if you want to hear about it, you also know where to go right here. And coming up, we're going to be talking about the night of our lives and what the actual basketball game, because there's still a basketball game that's going to be played. The Phoenix Suns. What is there to know about the new look Suns and how they match up with the Clippers? Going to be talking about that coming up. I got to tell you a little something about FanDuel. Hey, NFL fans, you can start the season with a big return on FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. You'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. And what are the NBA bets looking like right now on FanDuel? Well, on Wednesday night, and by the way, for all the people that I was saying go with the Wolves, they would have lost. That would have been bad betting advice. That's why I don't bet. But I'll tell you this. I'm feeling pretty good about the game on Wednesday. Clippers are +5 against the Suns. I would take it. And where do you do that? FanDuel.com. All right, back to talk about the special night, the first ever NBA game at Intuit Dome in the regular season. First game that actually counts. And it's against the Phoenix Suns, who have gone out and tried to fill that point guard void that they didn't have last season by getting Tyus Jones, who you would most remember as being a very good backup for the Memphis Grizzlies on their 2023 and 2022 teams that finished second in the West consecutive years. Now, I think he's going to make the Suns better, but we're looking at a starting lineup of Tyus Jones, Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, and Jusuf Nurkic. What stands out there? Well, you have 3 guards, Tyus Jones, Bradley Beal, Devin Booker. Devin Booker's about 6'5", and he is playing the 3. Then you have Kevin Durant, who entered the league as a 3, playing the 4, but he's 7 feet tall. You can get away with that. He's done that for a couple years. The weakness for me is 6'6", Devin Booker. Is one, the point of attack defense is not too strong. You're probably going to have Bradley Beal starting the game guarding James Harden. And while Bradley Beal played good defense last year compared to those last couple seasons in Washington, James Harden, Bradley Beal, I kind of like my chances. Now, if James Harden can't create offensive advantages against Bradley Beal, then there might be some problems. But we should put Tyus Jones in that pick and roll. Make him guard. Is he going to switch on to James Harden? Because if he is, it's barbecue time. If he's not, let's see if we can get 4-on-3 situations. The big weakness for Phoenix, in my opinion, is more so even than their perimeter defense, which they still have guys like Royce O'Neal and Grayson Allen, and that Ryan Dunn guy looks good in preseason off the bench. But it's still, if your best point of attack defender in the starting lineup is going to be Bradley Beal, I don't know how convinced I am that you're a championship contender. Now, are they favorites in this game? Absolutely. Should they be favorites? Absolutely. Am I going to pick them to win the game? No. Is it because I'm a Clipper fan? You better freaking believe it. But I just think there's a lot of adrenaline that's going to go into tomorrow or on tonight as well. And the crowd, you're a big part of it if you're at the game. The interior defense is their biggest worry for me. Jusuf Nurkic is not a very good rim protector. He's not a very good defender in general. And their backup making his return. Let's see what kind of reception he gets. I mean, I don't think he should get anything, but it'd be funny if he got a couple boos because he was so bad after the injury last year. Mason Plumlee. Some of these Suns fans have really got out on the limb and said he's going to be an upgrade from Jock Landale. Is he? He can finish some shots around the basket, but he plays absolutely no defense at the rim, as we all know. And sometimes he'll get a rebound and push the ball up the floor like he's Lamar Odom. Or he thinks he's Lamar Odom, and he's going to, be tragic Bronson on the break. So Mason Plumlee, I'm really looking forward for the Clippers to play against him. What I believe we need to do is attack Tyus Jones and pick and roll. Let's see if you can guard, buddy. Let's see if you can guard James Harden. Then the next thing is, obviously, put Jusuf Nurkic and Plumlee in tons of pick and rolls. See how they defend them, right? If I'm the Suns, I'm interested to see what they would do because James Harden should really try to attack the basket. Everyone should try to attack the basket because they're not going to have much rim protection with those two. But in pick and rolls, I assume that Nurkic is going to be in drop coverage against Harden, which is going to force Bradley Beal to stay attached, getting over that screen. I don't know. I think there's a chance that James Harden could carve them apart in pick and roll, and that's going to be the key to the game, is if James Harden and Kevin Porter Jr. can carve them apart in pick and roll because their bigs aren't very good, and at the point of attack, I mean, is Bradley Beal going to get, at the point of attack, at the point of attack against James Harden, get over screens and get back in front, and there's no advantage created offensively for us. I just don't see it with the combo of Beal and Nurkic or Beal and Mason Plumlee. I just don't see it. I think another avenue in which we can win is by pushing the pace. We have some really good guys to guard their guys because we've added in the point of attack and perimeter defense. So to start the game, and by the way, what better way to begin the whole Zubats, focal point thing than giving him some touches against a weak defensive center like Yusuf Nurkic? Just a thought. But as far as attacking the basket, feeding Zoo, if I'm the Clippers, I run a bunch of pick and rolls against Plumlee and Nurkic, as I said. But here's who we have to guard them. We're probably going to have Terrence on KD because he likes guarding bigger guys. And we've seen some good stuff from Terrence on KD in the past. Derrick Jones Jr. on Devin Booker. And then Norman Powell on Bradley Beal. If you're the Suns, definitely try to put Harden in the action because he's going to have to do so much offensively. You want to get him to guard. Thing about James Harden is sometimes he takes it personally, and you can see him play some good one-on-one defense. Obviously, he has great hands, and you can't really post him up because he's got great lower body strength. But I think we have a chance to really clamp them up. And if we start getting stops, we can get out and run. James Harden on those hit-ahead passes. You get Terrence and Derrick Jones in transition, and the Intuit Dome starts getting jumping, and then it's really going to be a place to be. But it starts with our defense, with our stops and forcing turnovers. If we force turnovers, great things are going to happen. So, I don't know. We have a pretty well-positioned team to guard the Suns, but at the same time, when KD and Devin Booker are on, there's just not much you have for them. And James Harden, not much you can do about them. And James Harden's going to guard Tyus Jones probably in that starting lineup, and we'll see how he handles that in the pick and roll defensively. Because I am a little bit worried about James, especially with all the offensive things he has to do. But those are the keys for me. Or that's the Suns, I'll put it this way. They have the three scorers in Beal, KD, and Booker, who are lethal. They can score from everywhere on the floor. They're a little bit redundant for me. They all are fantastic three-level scorers, pull-up shooters, but they don't generate many easy baskets, and none of them are great passers. I think Booker's an improved passer, but none of them are great passers. They're all solid off the ball, but I don't think any of them want the ball in their hands too much. And that point Booker experiment didn't work very well. His defense fell off a bit, and now they have Tyus Jones as a result. So that's the Phoenix Suns. They won 49 games last year. They're going to lose on Wednesday, hopefully. But coming up, exploring the keys and the performances needed in order to win the game. Going to be talking about that coming up. I got to tell you a little something about GameTime. GameTime is the best place to get great deals on last-minute tickets, and guess what? I got my ticket for opening night on GameTime. For real. It's legit. I've used it twice now. GameTime has a new feature called GameTime Picks that makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. GameTime Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. And GameTime gives you their lowest price guarantee, or they'll credit you 110% of the difference, and your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry, known as the GameTime Ticket Coverage. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with GameTime Picks. Download the GameTime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download GameTime today. What time is it? Game time. All right. So opening night should be one of the most special nights of our lives as Clipper fans. A night we shall never forget. The beginning of the Intuit Dome era. Sadly, it's not going to be with Kawhi Leonard, but maybe James Harden has a masterclass and leads us to victory. First game against the Phoenix Suns, a team we so despise. And I can't call it a real rivalry because we haven't beaten them. Right now, the Suns just laugh at us. But hopefully they're not laughing tomorrow. And the keys to the game, number one for me, show everybody what kind of defense we're going to have. Because we've talked about the Clippers pushing pace a little more with the athletes that they've acquired. Derrick Jones, Kai Jones, Chris Dunn, KPJ. Well, you're not going to see them get out and run if they're taking the ball out every time. We got to get stops. We got to force turnovers. We got to get out and run. It's going to be Zubats in drop coverage, and Devin Booker and Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal are drop coverage killers. At least I think it's going to be drop. So that means that the point of attack defenders have to do a good job getting over screens and getting into the rear view and making Beal, Booker, and KD have to second guess some pull-ups and hopefully have a hand in the face. If we choose to blitz and then rotate, we could be in trouble with the 3-ball because they've got 4 shooters. But, yeah, I wouldn't do that. Without Kawhi, I wouldn't go hedge, recover, and then rotate. I just don't think so because Derek Jones and Terrence Mann, I think they'll scramble really well. But Norm Harden, I don't trust it too much. So I think it's going to be Zubats drop coverage. And you want Zubats around the rim. It's going to be the first time where Jeff Van Gundy gets to really put his defensive scheme in place on the big stage. But if we're being honest, besides the defense, it's going to have to be a James Harden night. He's going to have to carry us. He's going to have to create a ton of good shots. And I want to see Terrence Mann and Derek Jones Jr. knock down some threes, especially Terrence Mann, shooting the ball with confidence. And the more we get out and run, the better he's going to be. But he's got to shoot that ball with confidence in the half court. Because otherwise, teams are not going to react very much when he gets the ball. And he's not going to get baskets around the paint where he's so good. He's going to be forced to shoot that three. And he's got to make it. The next key, Zubats. What kind of presence is he going to have? Are we going to look to get him going because they have Mason Plumlee and Nurkic as their bigs? Is he going to fight for good enough post position? Is he going to be okay with, look, I just missed 2 shots in a row because the refs are not calling anything, but we're going to ask for the ball again? And are we going to give him the ball again? I'm excited to see that. Kevin Porter Jr., can he be efficient offensively and not totally ball pound? That'll be something to watch. Is Jordan Miller going to play? I doubt it. I think tomorrow or tonight we go with James, Norm, Terrence, Derek, if it's a Zubat starters. Bench, Chris Dunn, Nico. Oh, my God, the return of Nico. How special is that going to be? And another guy that can guard KD or Booker or Beal. And then we have Chris Dunn. Phoenix, I don't know if they're I don't know if they know what's about to happen tonight with the defensive guys that we have. So Chris Dunn off the bench, KPJ off the bench, Nico off the bench, Kai Jones off the bench, and Amir Coffey. I think you go with 10, maybe 9, but I think he's going to go with 10. And, manage it accordingly. We have to have KPJ or Harden in at all times. One of them's got to be in. Maybe even 2 of Norm, KPJ, and Harden in at all times. But anyway, it's going to be an incredible night. I got the Clippers winning. I think it'll be close. I don't think it'll be a blowout by any means. But if we win by double digits, that would be an incredible start to the Intuit Dome era. Let's have some fun, Clipper Nation. Let's be loud, and let's show Ballmer. Like, Ballmer rewarded us with this. Let's reward him with what he wants, and that's a raucous crowd. The whole nation's going to be watching. It's going to be so cool to just see the new camera angles at Intuit Dome, how a game is captured there. It's all new, the newest stadium in the NBA, and it's a blessing to be able to tell the story of year 1 right here for you on Locked On Clippers. And you can also follow me on Dime Dropper on Twitter and Instagram at Dime Dropper Pod, and my own YouTube channel where you'll have more vlogs of this kind of stuff I'll be seeing at games. And Locked On Clippers is free and available wherever you get your podcasts, including YouTube. Remember, if you can't watch on YouTube, because I know everybody likes to do that now, you can always listen wherever you get your podcasts. And, of course, for those that are watching on YouTube, keep watching, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you know every single time we post a video. The journey officially begins, or as the great Brian Seaman says, our story begins tonight at the Intuit Dome for the first time against the Phoenix Suns. The age-old proverb continues. Go Clippers. We back, baby.